Hello, future computer science students. This is Mr. Goldsmith, and I'm here to tell you about the portion of your summer homework project using the Scratch programming language. So the webpage I'm on right now is Scratch. This is a free open webpage made by teams of students and faculty at MIT University. That's kind of cool. By the way, if you've seen this before, Scratch has recently updated January 2019 to version 3.0. So what you see here might be a little different from what you've seen before. Pardon me. The first thing I'd like you to do is go ahead and create an account, and there are specific instructions in the assignment about what your username should be. So please read up on that and follow those instructions. Once you've created an account, you can browse some of the featured programs and projects posted on Scratch. Now, what you see will be different than what I have here because these update every day. But just for example, I'm going to click into one. So this is not made by me. This is made by someone else and posted on the Scratch website for anyone to see and anyone to use. Your work can be published the same way. And the first thing we can do is actually play this game that someone made. So I'm just going to start, and it's got some neat sort of floaty motion controls. And that's enough of that. So you can have fun. You can play things other people have made or explore programs other people have made. But then for any published program, you can click See Inside to see how the program's actually made. So this chain of blocks is the actual Scratch program, and we'll be making one of these in just a moment. And you can scroll down. There's quite a bit more here. There's actually several connected groups of blocks, several connected scripts, and you'll be making a program that also uses multiple scripts. This game also has multiple objects in the game. There's the ball, there's the destination, there's the wall, and each of them has its own programming. So this is the ball, this is the finish, and when we click on it, we see it has its own separate programming. You'll also be making a program for this project with multiple separate sprites. So I'd like you to please pause this video and take some time to just explore some of the things that are out there in Scratch. Have fun playing with some things. Check out the programming for anything that you are interested in. And now it's time to make our own. So back at the front page, we're going to choose Create. And that brings us to the space where we can actually create and run and save a Scratch program of our own. So the first thing I'd like you to do here is please get familiar with the entire list of blocks that you see on the left. So one more time in just a second, I'm going to ask you to pause this video and read through what you see here. But I'd also like you to notice that for many of these blocks, like for example, this math block, there's a drop-down menu where you can choose multiple choices. So with the math block here, you see trigonometry, you see logarithms, and quite a bit of other things in that sub-menu. So go ahead and browse through the entire list of blocks, maybe start thinking of ideas for what you could do with what you see here. Pause the video for a few minutes and come back when you're done. So we're going to make a video that's going to have Scratch create a certain design. The very first thing we're going to do is start our program by having it begin when this green flag is clicked. That's how many Scratch programs begin. And the very first thing I'd like Scratch to do, if he's not already in the center, right now he is go to a certain location and point in a certain direction. So that would just sort of reset him if he wasn't already in the center. And then using the block that says repeat 4 times, what I'm going to have Scratch do 4 times is walk forward a certain amount and then turn 90 degrees. And if you pass geometry, you will realize that that should have him draw a square. And when we click the green flag, he does it, but he does it so fast we can barely see what happens. I'm going to change that 50 to 100 to make it an even larger square. But most importantly, I'm going to have him put his pen down as he draws the square. So now we've got him drawing a larger square. The next thing I'd like to do is install a fun little extension called Pen, and that gives us some extra blocks. And I'm going to have Scratch put his pen down at the beginning of this. And now when we run this again, we can see him draw a square, and he actually leaves a drawing. I'm also going to start this program with Erase All. So every new time we run it, it will erase everything that's there. And that works perfectly. To continue, we're going to add something pretty neat to this. I'm going to take my code to draw a square and take this block that says repeat 10 times, but we're going to change that number in a moment, and arrange them like this. So right now this would draw 10 squares. And when we change it, this would draw 180. And if we were to click run right now, it would very boringly draw the same square 180 times. But it becomes a lot more interesting with this slight addition to turn 2 degrees. So now we're going to draw a square, turn 2 degrees, and draw another square and another, each one turned a little bit from the previous. I'd also like you to think about why it wouldn't work if we put this block here, or if we put this block here. And just for fun, I want to do one last thing. While Scratch is drawing, I want him to continue slightly changing his pen color. So we're going to draw 180 squares, each one turned a little from the previous, and the entire time we'll be changing our color while we go. Let's do it. And this illustrates the power and beauty of programming, that code, so small and so simple, can do so much, or can do something so complicated if it's well arranged and well designed. And to add to this, we're going to get just a little bit silly. We're going to add something that doesn't really make sense as a program, but is just going to illustrate and demonstrate some of Scratch's features. So we're going to add an additional sprite. We're going to choose a new sprite, and we're going to choose it by browsing in this menu of options. Here's a fantastically boring selection. And for this sprite, we get to give it its own completely separate programming, and we can click back and forth between them. So for the ball, we're going to also have it begin when the green flag is clicked. We're going to have it go to the mouse pointer. Now, if we ran the program like this, it would go to the mouse pointer one time as it follows the step-by-step directions. But with this simple addition, it always goes to the mouse pointer over and over and over again. So when we run our program, and I'm not going to let it draw the entire thing, I'll interrupt it before it's finished, but we can see that the ball follows the mouse pointer because it's continuously going to it. And we can also have a separate set of instructions that it will also be following. So let's also, beginning when the green flag is clicked, if the ball is touching Scratch. That's the name of our other sprite. If the ball is touching sprite 1. If the ball is touching sprite 1, we can have it do anything that we want it to do. And I'm just going to pick something small and silly. I'm going to have it change its costume because the ball has multiple different color costumes. So if the ball is touching sprite 1 Scratch, we're going to have it change its costume. Now, same thing. If we ran the program just like this, it would follow these instructions like following a recipe. It would only check once, and it would say, okay, I'm done, but I want it to happen anytime they touch. So we just need this addition of forever. Over and over, it's going to check and see if it's touching. So what's neat about this program now is it has two sprites, sprite 1 Scratch and also the ball. Sprite 1 Scratch has his code to draw his design. The ball has its code to always go to the mouse pointer and take an action if it's touching Scratch. So you could use that power to create a game, an art project, a useful tool, anything you choose to make. And your assignment, similar to this, is going to be make a program that has more than one sprite, and at least one of the sprites must have more than one script. I'm not going to give you any other rules or guidelines for this assignment. Have fun, be creative, be interesting, be challenging, make something big. But the assignment I've made here is technically good enough to get an A+ for the summer homework. So let's go ahead and run this. Scratch is doing his thing. The ball is moving to the mouse pointer. And if the ball touches Scratch, the ball changes colors. Everything in this program works perfectly. Have fun, happy summer, happy coding, and see you in computer science.